Dear brothers and sisters of Durban, it is a true blessing and honor to be with you in your beautiful city for the very first time. May Allahu alayhi wa sallam wa alihi wa sallam. May Allah His mercy upon your families, your scholars, your institutions, your volunteers, and all those striving for good in this vibrant community. As I did in Cape Town and Johannesburg, I begin with sincere thanks, particularly for your steadfast and unwavering support of our oppressed brothers and sisters in Palestine during this dark period of genocide. May Allah reward every soul who stood in protest, who cried out in dua, and who refused to remain silent in the face of injustice. Your solidarity moved hearts around the globe, and it moved me to come here personally to express my gratitude. Tonight, I want us to reflect together. Let me begin with a question, one that only the audience should answer. What did the Prophet ﷺ fear most for his ummah? Many might say disunity, and that is indeed one of his concerns. But in an authentic hadith, he clearly stated, "What I fear most for my ummah is hidden shirk." When asked what that was, he responded, Riya. Why start here? Because what we often think of as strength, victory, numbers, wealth, isn't always true success. The Prophet ﷺ warned us that sometimes what looks like triumph in this world is actually a trial. Islam is not a religion that measures success by outward achievements, but by the condition of the heart. He ﷺ told us that among the first people thrown into hellfire will be a Quran reciter, a generous man, and a martyr, not because they didn't do good deeds, but because their intention was corrupt. They did their actions to be praised by people, not for Allah. They sought recognition, not reward from the one who sees the unseen. Let that sink in. A person can die for the faith and still be rejected on the day of judgment because they craved worldly approval more than divine acceptance. So, yes, we want to see the Ummah rise, we long for a return to dignity and justice, but we must ask, do we want the essence of victory or just the image of it? What is the price we're willing to pay for that image? The Prophet ﷺ made it clear, he didn't fear poverty for this ummah. He feared that wealth would flow in abundance, that materialism would take root, and that Muslims would begin to compete over worldly possessions, forgetting what gave them strength in the first place. This mirrors his other guidance. The upper hand is better than the lower hand, meaning it's better to give than to receive. But if having wealth comes at the cost of spiritual decay, then poverty is safer. It's better to be weak in the world, but strong in faith, than to be powerful outwardly, but hollow inside. Is having numbers a strength? Yes, Prophet ﷺ encouraged having large families and expressed joy at seeing his followers numerous, but sheer numbers alone don't mean much. The Prophet ﷺ foresaw a time when the nations of the world would gather against the Muslims like diners at a feast, and though the Ummah would be vast in number, they'd be as weightless as foam on the sea. Why? Because of a spiritual illness. The illness has a name, wan, the love of this world and the fear of death. This isn't just a collective condition, it's personal. Loving comfort too much makes us unwilling to leave ease for the sake of truth. Fearing death too much makes us silent when we should speak. Our enemies sense this weakness. They don't fear us not because of our lack of weapons or resources, but because they see our lack of conviction and unity. Spiritual illness leads to political weakness. The Prophet ﷺ taught that every sin, every cowardice, every betrayal of principles stems from one core disease, too much attachment to the dunya. You'll sell your morals for temporary pleasures. You'll betray your cause to maintain your comfort. You'll sacrifice the eternal for the immediate. The Quran praises those who fight and endure without faltering, without surrendering. These were people whose resolve came from deep spiritual conviction. They faced trials but never lost heart. Their strength came not from material advantage but from reliance on Allah. Even patience and gratitude, often treated separately, are interconnected. Gratitude in ease is patience, and patience in hardship is gratitude. Just like that, love of the world and fear of death are two sides of the same disease. When you love comfort too much, you don't want to move. When you fear death too much, you run at the first sign of challenge. Both paralyze the ummah. One makes us complacent, the other makes us retreat. This is why the Prophet ﷺ praised those who stand before tyrants and speak the truth, because they conquer fear. They aren't intimidated by threats of imprisonment or death. Their honor is rooted in their connection with Allah. Look at Gaza. These people defy logic. They are deprived of material wealth, yet they are rich in resolve. Their strength isn't born of despair, it's born of Iman. They aren't suicidal. They resist because they love life with dignity. They love Allah more than they fear bullets, and that makes them unstoppable. The Prophet ﷺ said, there will always be a group of this ummah upon the truth. They will be visible. They will drive their enemies mad. They will remain firm, not deterred by betrayal or opposition. Where will they be? In Jerusalem and its surroundings. May Allah honor us to witness their victory. So, the real question for all of us is, how comfortable are you? And how much are you doing to break that comfort for Allah's sake? Are you donating until it hurts, or only until it feels good? Are you standing for justice even when it's unpopular? Are you willing to lose a worldly benefit to keep your deen? Discomfort for the sake of Allah is a sign of faith. When you give from your wealth, your time, your voice, and even your security, not because it's easy, but because it's right, that is your proof. The Prophet ﷺ didn't build an empire with wealth or weapons, but with people who feared Allah more than anything else. That's where victory begins, in the heart,